All right, Shalom. Shalom. I want to start off by giving all praise and honor and glory to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Kakwadash. And I say double honor to the apostles and the bishop elders at Great Millstone for teaching his word in truth and sincerity and for ruling well. And salutations to my fellow Akim across the four corners of the globe, preaching and prophesying in the name of Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai. I'm the brother Gabar Yahweh from GMS Hawaii, coming to you with another quick lesson. And this lesson was inspired by this excerpt from a movie. I think it was called like the 1%. It's really a documentary, and it was done by one of the Johnson heirs or Johnson sires. And everybody know you heard of Johnson and Johnson, baby powder, and their whole industry. You know, or the Johnson family are one of the super elite families of America. You have another one called the Vanderbilts, the Whitneys, you about to see this man speaking from this excerpt. And just looking at this excerpt from that documentary, it shows you how detached the wealthy are from the average person. We as the Israelites, so-called Negroes, Latinos, Native Americans, will be average at best in this world. We're not the top, we're not the ruling class, we're not the ruling elite, not on this side. And this video shows you that. Another thing that this video shows you, and he's going to speak about it, is that all these Edomites' wealth is done by a racket. I'm not sure if I'm going to put this video separate by itself or with some other clips, but there's a clip of Chris Rock speaking about how wealth has gotten made in America, and it's pretty much about the crack of their day. You got the Rockefellers, the Brofmans, the Kennedys. You know, they called it bootlegging, but it was all a racket. It was all a racket. And these Edomites, their children, their heirs, they get to live wealthy and they get to live a comfortable life off the wickedness that their forefathers set down in the earth, you know? And again, they don't see life the way you see it. They don't, in this world we're taught to on some level to value life, right? Because you don't want to go to prison. You shouldn't take another person's life. But these people, they don't care about blood. The scripture says this right here. Slovakia.
I mean, growing up,
Yeah, the scripture says this right here. Since thou hast not hated blood, this is the book of Ezekiel, chapter 35, verse 5. Yep, Ezekiel 35 and 5. It says, because thou hast had a perpetual hatred and hast shed the blood of the children of Israel. This is the Most High speaking to Esau, Mount Seir, through Ezekiel. And he's saying, because thou hast had a perpetual hatred, right? Esau, Edom, the so-called white man, has had a perpetual hatred against the children of Israel since day one, and has shed the blood of the children of Israel by the force of the sword, right? In the time of their calamity, right? Because they would kill us and destroy us and shed our blood by the what? By the force of the sword. And when in doing so, they took all our belongings, they took us into captivity, they've oppressed us. And it says in a time of the calamity, in a time that their iniquity had an end, right? Because our iniquity had an end, it should have ended with slavery, captivity, physical captivity. But it didn't, obviously, because we're waiting on the Lord to come. But um, in doing so, they kept it going. They didn't stop it. It says in the NLT, your eternal hatred for the people of Israel. Right. When you look at these Edomites, you're going to see this Edomite, well, you see him right here. So,
I mean, growing up, everything just seems normal. You go to a museum, you're like, yeah, that's me, that's my family, And don't you?
Yeah, you look at an Edomite like this. It just, I'm a rewind it, but this guy hates Israelites, man. We're nothing to these people, you know. But in reality, these people are nothing to Yahweh Bashim Yahweh Shai. But in this world, they treat us like absolute filth, the scum on the bottom of your shoe, a roach, something that you step on. But in reality, these Edomites are that. It says, your eternal hatred for the people of Israel led you to butcher them. And they've butchered us many, many times over. When they were helpless, when I had already punished them for all their sins. Right. So when the Lord would allow these nations to overcome us, that was him punishing us for our sins. What happened to us in the transatlantic slavery and the establishment of North America and Central and South America, all of that was the punishment of the Lord. But they continue to butcher us. When the Lord had already punished us, these nations, particularly Esau, Edom, will come and overthrow us. Therefore, as I live, saith the Lord power, I will prepare thee for blood, and blood shall pursue thee. Since thou hast not hated blood, even blood shall pursue thee. Right, exactly. Because these Edomites don't shy away from blood. In order to get to this, when I say this, I mean the suits, the button-up shirts with the top button undone, walking around, free from fear, walking around free from guilt, walking around free from judgment. In order for them to get to this point, their forefathers had to lay the smack down with the judgment, with the wickedness. And not only did they butcher and kill us, but they lied, they cheated, they stole, they robbed, manipulated. That's how they got to be where they at. In order to be wealthy in this world, you have to be wicked. You got Jake talking about generational wealth. It's not that our people can't make what you call money down here. It's not that our people are not don't have entrepreneur spirits. But even that whole thought about being an entrepreneur, that comes from the wicked, chiefly under President Nixon, which he backed this whole entrepreneur spirit. Matter of fact, hold on. I was speaking about President Nixon pushing that entrepreneurship, or what you call black capitalism, which Edomites will tell you that the way that their four families got wealthy was through capitalism, was through hard work, diligence, pulling themselves up by their bootstraps, working hard and establishing something for their family, so that their sons and their sons' sons after them could live a perpetual life of rest and comfort, and not even knowing what their family did, or not really caring, or having because in his mind, he's not his forefather, but in reality, he is. He's like, he just grew up wealthy. He didn't know anything about it until he knew something about it. So when you talk about, and this lesson, I feel like through the Spirit's going to go several different ways. We're going to talk about how Edomites got rich through the rackets, how you so-called Negroes will never become wealthy in this world, not true wealth. All right, because like Chris Rock said, wealth and rich is two different things. He says you can't get rid of wealth. Rich, you can get rid of that. Over a summer and a bad drug habit. You know, but they push this spirit of, well, if we, collectivize, that's a word from Willie Dynamite. If we collectivize and bring our black money together and we get on the same page, which you Jakes can't even get on the same page to pay a bill at a dinner table, let alone establish working uh, capital for your nation. And Esau doesn't even do that for his own people. So that's another thing. Again, in order to be wealthy here, you have to be wicked. So this is an article that I had found some time ago. Yeah, and it's entitled it's from the Boston Review. Okay, and it says, a bad check for Black America. Nixon embrace of black capitalism was a canny move. What's the term canny mean? That word canny, right? It says having or showing shrewdness or in good judgment, especially in money or business matters, right? So it says Nixon's embrace of black capitalism was a canny move that ultimately decimated the black community. So here it is, you talk about entrepreneurship, black capitalism, but that should destroy our people. It wasn't for good. Like the scriptures say in Ecclesiasticus chapter 14, Ecclesiastes 14, I think it's 14:5. Chapter 14, verse 5, okay? Ecclesiastes, Salakia, 14 and yeah, I'll start at 5. It says, he that is evil to himself, to whom will he be good? Because Esau, he's evil to his own people. So how could he be good to us? It says, to whom will he be good? He shall not take pleasure in his goods. Says verse 6, there is none worse than he that envieth himself. And Esau is like that. And this is the recompense of his wickedness. And if he doeth good, he doeth it unwillingly. And at the last, he will declare his wickedness. So here it is. Our people thought that black capitalism, entrepreneurship, that was a good thing. But in reality, it was built on wickedness. And ultimately, the wickedness came out. So it says right here, it says, by the time Richard Nixon rode in office in 1969, the signal achievements of the civil rights movement, the signal achievements of the civil rights movement, the Civil Rights and Voting Rights Acts, and Brown versus the Board of Education were years behind him. In their wake, a more radical black movement had gained momentum and had been met with an equally strong white backlash. Indeed, Nixon's victory depended on the creation of a new Republican coalition that felt threatened by the loss of the racial order. Yeah, Esau started seeing Jake. That's what you had in the 60s, late 60s, early 70s. You had this big movement of radicalism. Jake was asking for more than just civil rights and voting rights. They felt that they accomplished something through that, that now they can really push the envelope. And Esau felt his power slipping. So the Southern strategy, as it became known, opposed overt forms of race discrimination, but rejected any government effort at integration, using race as a wedge issue without actually talking about race. Nixon associated crime with blackness and promised law and order. Yep, and that's what these elite politicians, they do that to this day. He signaled an allegiance to white voters who were fearful of blacks without sounding like a racist. The notion of black capitalism was another part of his strategy. During the campaign, Nixon co-opted black power rhetoric, right? And that's what these Edomites are good at, right? They'll give you something, but nothing at all, right? And then they'll take whatever plan that you had and they'll take it and put them to themselves and wrap it up. You see what's going on with the LGBT ABC community, how they co-opted that whole Black Lives Matter situation. But anyway, let's keep on going. It says the notions of black capitalism was another part of this strategy. During the campaign, Nixon co-opted black power rhetoric of economic self-determination to call for a segregated black economy, right? In which Jake, you had that, because really what Jake want is they want to be like Esau, but they want to try to do it on their, separated from Esau. But Esau ain't gonna have that, because that happened in the Middle Ages. That happened with the fall of pagan Rome, and they ain't having that shit. And most importantly, how about Shai not having that, because this ain't our rest. All right, this just was a place for us to be judged and punished for our iniquities that we had racked up over 1,000 years, thousands of years, right? But nonetheless, it's also a place that the Lord's going to bring complete judgment over here. So this place ain't for us. So anyway, it says he used the language. Let me read that again. It says Nixon co-opted Black Power's rhetoric of economic self-determination to call for a segregated black economy. He used the language of free market and capitalism, a racially neutral and popular idea at the time, to embrace the idea of black enterprise. People in the ghetto, Nixon said, have to have more than an equal chance. They should be given a dividend, black business and black banking. The theory would be the key to black economic progress, because they would allow black communities to use their own money to create a beneficial multiplier effect. This move allowed Nixon to neutralize black resistance, indeed, to enlist the full throat support of activists while also furthering his coalition's desire for a diminished social safety net. By discouraging welfare dependency in the name of black enterprise, he was able to undermine black demands for economic redress and reparations, right? Because that's what those movements were screaming about in the 60s and 70s. It was really about redress, correction for what they did to us, and reparation payments, right? But they ain't finna make you niggas rich. Esau got more than enough money to do it, but that's not in his spirit to do it, because the Lord didn't put that in his spirit to do it, right? But that's what that came from. And so they will promote this so-called entrepreneurship, but you get nothing from that. It says people who own their own homes, he reasoned, don't burn their neighborhoods. This same logic later justified his dismantling of the Lyndon B. Johnson War on Poverty programs, as well as his neglect of other anti-poverty efforts, which were seen as costly and responsible for creating dependence on the state. The strategy highlights Nixon's mastery of political sleight of hand. By promoting black capitalism, he was able to accomplish a great deal with very little. He gained business support, lost none of his political base, spent virtually nothing. The promise of black capitalism was so loosely conceived, it curbed the demand of black separatists and appealed to white voters. You see? So it basically gave you something, but he gave you nothing at all. Right? So he don't want you to be wealthy in this place. And Faison Love, this guy right here, he actually speaks about that. Let me play this.
What am I doing for my wealth stream? I'm like, wealth stream? This girl asked me, what am I doing for my wealth stream? I'm like, wealth stream? Oh, shit. I be trying to tell these, you will never be wealthy. Mm-hmm. Just get that out of your fucking head. Yo. It's only two ways to get wealthy. Okay, people? Mm-hmm. Either you're born into it or you solve a problem.
Right. Either you born into it or you solve a problem. And on this side, we are not born into wealth. Right? We're not born into wealth. We're born into hardship and poverty. Why? Because that's one of the curses that was levied on us for our iniquity that the Lord put on us. Salakia. This is the book of Deuteronomy, chapter 28. Deuteronomy 28. Book of Deuteronomy 28. And this is the book of Deuteronomy 28, and I think about 40. 43. It says, the stranger that is within thee shall get up above thee very high, and thou shalt come down very low. Matter of fact, let me look this up in the NLT as well. Again, Deuteronomy 28 and 43. You see, the Bible really gives us all the answers we need about why things are the way they are. It really does, man. You know, because when you see this devil, it'll make you envy this nigga that he got all his wealth and his paper and his influence and his power. But in reality, he's about to fall, right? But let me go back to this. Deuteronomy 28 and 43. The stranger that is within thee shall get up above thee very high, and thou shalt come down very low. He shall lend to thee, and thou shalt not lend to him. He shall be the head, and thou shalt be the tail, right? So when we come in, oh, here it is. It says, verse 45, moreover, all these curses shall come upon thee, and shall pursue thee and overtake thee till thou be destroyed, because thou hearkenest not unto the voice of Yahweh Bashem Shai thy God, to keep his commandments and his statutes, which he commanded thee. So all of these things that are happening unto us is because of our ultimate disobedience to the Lord. But it says right here, the stranger that is within thee shall get up above thee. It says in NLT, the foreigners living among you will become stronger and stronger while you become weaker and weaker. And those foreigners are these Edomites and these other nations, right? Okay, and he didn't add a third thing, but in order to really become wealthy in this world, you have to be wicked. Beyond being born in it or solving a problem, you have to be wicked, and you have to be highly connected and established. And that's why you're about to see this guy in this thing. He's a Vanderbilt / Whitney, right? And he was born wealthy, right? He was born into a wealth. He's like a prince. So let me play this real quick.
Enjoy your lives. So, not to cut you off, but Jay-Z's wealthy, right?
No. No. And that's another thing. That's what's wrong with you niggas, bro. You niggas, Esau is a fucking genius, bro. He's an evil genius, but he's a genius. He set up all these dumb, wicked ass niggas, and you niggas look at $2 billion or $1 billion as wealthy. Because the nigga buying artwork, because the nigga is all over the place. Listen, man, If you truly wealthy, you're not going to end up on one of these lists right here. You're not going to be you're not going to be part of the richest black, the meet the America's black billionaires. You're not going to be on this list right here because these niggas are nothing. They do nothing but give a service unto Esau. All of these niggas, all of these so-called wealthy people, they give a service to Esau, and not only them, but even these people. If you're truly wealthy, you're not going to be on the Forbes list. These people provide a service for the super elite. The super elite, what you about to see, one of them, you don't hear about them. You can't get rid of their wealth. These people's wealth, if any of the super elite had any of this so-called wealth that these people on the Forbes list or the black Americans people list of wealthy billionaire blacks, you know, they'd kill themselves. It even what's his face? Chris Rock even said that. He said they would kill themselves, man. Well, he mentioned Bill Gates, but Bill Gates is a nobody. He's a welfare case compared to the Vanderbilts, compared to the Rockefellers, the Rothschilds, the Oppenheimers, the Whitneys. Even the Cowgills. I did a lesson on wealthy Edomite families you've never heard of. They all provide a service for the super elite within this world order. That's all these people do. And yes, this is a lot of money to us, but to the super elite, this is nothing. It's a drop in a bucket, because the Rothschilds have over $5 trillion if you want to put dollars on there, because they really own countries. They really own governments. They got the world in their hand, right? So our people will see a nigga that's worth, what is that? A nigga that's supposedly worth, because this is not liquid. None of this shit that this nigga got, this $2 billion worth of wealth, this shit is not liquid money, right? His wealth comes from his fine art collection. That's not liquid. Music catalog, that's not liquid. Rock Nation Entertainment Company, that shit can go bankrupt in a day, so that's not liquid. And he founded a various brand investments, including liquor, clothing lines, again, providing the service. These motherfuckers right here, service, they are the ones that's being served right here.
It just seems normal. You go to a museum, you're like, yeah, that's me, that's my family, And don't you have a family museum?
Yeah, we don't have no family museum. The Israelites don't have a family museum. No Israelite on the planet Earth. There's no family, no Jay-Z museum. The nigga got an exhibit. He is an exhibit, but he don't own that motherfucker. But see, these super elite, they're like, don't you own a museum? Like, no, nigga, I gotta pay to get in one. You know what I'm saying?
A museum, you're like, yeah, that's me, that's my family, And don't you have a family museum?
Another thing you notice too, he don't got no bodyguards. He by himself. And none of these people are any of the wiser that this dude is a walking billionaire, trillionaire, whatever. His family is completely wealthy. They couldn't lose their money overnight if they tried, except when Yahweh Shai come. But outside of that, hey, these niggas got enough money to make the world turn for 1,000 years and still got more that you don't know about, you don't hear about. They're not gonna get wrapped up in tax fraud. See a nigga like this, a nigga like Oprah Winfrey, Jay-Z, Michael Jordan, all these niggas, they had to sell out to get what they got. From Tiger Woods to LeBron James, they got video of this nigga. I had saved the video of this nigga. Well, I saw one, him dancing with a jerry curl on and a skin tight outfit. Josiah Whitney or Vanderbilt, he ain't had to do that. He didn't have to show himself in a weird way to get his wealth. He was born into it. As the scripture says right here in Job 2:21-7. Wherefore do the wicked live, become old, yea, are mighty in power. Their seed is established in their sight with them, and their offspring before their eyes. Their houses are safe from fear, neither is the rod of the Most High upon them, right? Because these super elite, they don't have the problems that we have. See, these niggas sold out. They sold out. But guess what? The rod of the Most High is still upon them. No matter how much money they got, no matter how much fame they got, no matter how many resources they're able to get, guess what's standing right behind them? The rod of correction of Yahweh Shem Shai, which they're gonna receive the full brunt of it. Them, their children, their ilk, they're gonna get it. But Esau, he don't got that problem. This nigga is coming, but he don't have that problem on this side, right? Our people got that problem. It says their houses are safe from fear, neither is the rod of the Most High upon them. Their bull gendereth and felleth not. Their cow calveth and casteth not her calf. They send forth their little ones like a flock, and their children dance. They take the timbrel and the harp and rejoice at the sound of the organ. They spend their days, it's the point, they spend their days in wealth, and in the moment go down to the grave. Right, you see that? That's how they live. They don't spend their life full of troubles. They don't have a rags to riches story. They don't have a bottom to the top story. They just live that way. And the NLT, it says they spend their days in prosperity, then go down to the grave in peace, right? These niggas ain't going to the grave in peace. You know, once they die, that wealth will get wrapped up in probate court. You know, if they ain't got wills and proper insurance and all that other stuff, that shit get wrapped up in probate court, and their youth, they won't take that wealth and keep it going. They might get money off, you know, the licensing of the names and shit because of the estate, but they won't keep it going to the other generations and other generations. See, when you talk about generational wealth and wealth creation amongst our people, niggas think they gonna get it to enjoy it to live right now. But see, the Whitneys and the Vanderbilts, the DuPonts, the Gettys, they was putting it in. They were putting that wicked work in so that their families later on could keep it going, because it was all about the name and the wealth of the family. So let me play this again.
You're like, yeah, that's me. That's my family, you know? And don't you have a family museum? The money from my family is kind of complicated.
Yeah, so his name is Josiah Hornblower. Let me see if I can look him up. This is another thing too. This dude get married and they get to publish their marriages or their weddings. They publish their weddings in the New York Times, right? This is from 2007. It says Jocelyn Wright Hunter, a daughter of Carol and Andrew Hunter, the third of Wayzata, Minnesota, was married last evening to Josiah Cheston Hornblower, a son of Alexander Thorne of Camden. I guess it's like, I don't know what ME stand for, Maine, and Jonathan Hornblower of Corpus Christi, Texas. The Reverend Dr. Teresa M. Roberts, minister of the United Church of Christ, performed the ceremony. And look, they just live their life. The bridegroom is a portfolio man. It says the bridegroom, 31, is a portfolio manager in the San Francisco office Resource Financial Institutions Group in New York. And guess how he got that job? He was put in that job. They just gave it to him. They created a title for this guy, right? He's on a documentary from back in the day when he was younger. And you can't even find no information on this dude. Ain't no Wikipedia or nothing on this dude. Why? Because that's how they keep it. It says, which manages investment funds focused on financial services, whatever that means. He graduated from Trinity College in Hartford. He is the great grandson of Cornelius Vanderbilt, the railroad magnate, and a descendant of Josiah Hornblower, a delegate from the New Jersey to the Continental Congress. The bridegroom was one of the subjects of Born Rich, in 2003 documentary directed by Jamie Johnson on children born to wealth, which is a good document. You brothers should check it out. But anyway, you see, they got their minimum information on this guy, right? So he don't even have the name behind him. He has the name behind him, but it's changed because of marriages and whatnot. But guess what? Does that mean that he doesn't get anything from that? Nah, the nigga still got it. And his children gonna have it. Why? Because this is how the wicked rule over here.
Family is kind of complicated. On my grandfather's side of the family, his grandmother was Gertrude Vanderbilt. The Vanderbilts made their money in shipping and railroads. And Gertrude Vanderbilt married a guy named Harry Payne Whitney, who was the son of William C. Whitney, who was a very famous New York.
And normally the wealthy marry the wealthy. They don't marry the poor. You're not going to see the Rothschilds bring up a dirt poor person into their family. That's not going to happen. They marry amongst the elite, amongst their own communities, and they usually typically Edomites.
Financier. Gertrude was a bohemian type, kind of going off to Paris and getting sculpture lessons by Rodin, and in the early 1900s had gone downtown and tried to help out struggling American artists, and in the process formed the Whitney Museum. I always take the subway, but my mom had never really been on the subway. I took her on the other day, and she was like, "Whoa, this is cool. Other people should."
You see that? They live a life of opulence. They never even took the train. He said his mother never took the train. He claims that he took her on there the other day. This is back then, right? But this is the mindset of these people. Here it is. We born on public fucking transportation. You know, before you get a car with a high ass interest rate and a car note, hey, you catching public transit. That was our means of transportation. But the elite, they don't roll like that, man. You know, it's like for them to do shit that the regular people do, it's like a game for them. Like that movie Coming to America. That nigga came to work in McDonald's or McDowell's, and it was like a game to him. It was like, oh, this is something new, because he had never seen it before. He never tied his shoes before. He never worked before. That's not in their program, right? And it's the same way. This is how the super elite live here, right? But in order for them to get there, the point is, in order for them to get there, wickedness had to be laid down. The true Israelites have to be on the bottom, while the servants are on top. These are Israelites right here, right? And in the kingdom of heaven, they're going to be on top. They're going to be, and this Edomite is going to be on the bottom. Real quick, this is Ecclesiastes chapter 10, verse 5. There is an evil which I have seen under the sun, and as an error which proceeded from the ruler. Folly is set in great dignity, and a rich sit in low place. I have seen servants upon horses, and princes walking as servants upon the earth. Right, you see that? And Esau, he's the real servant, right? But he's on the horse. Esau is on top, right? Esau is on top, and he's in a seat of power. So that's what the horse represents. And the princes, who are the princes? The so-called Negro, Latino, Native American men. We're walking on the earth as servants, man. His life, they standing on the same planet and the same platform, but his life is so starkly different from the average Israelite, from the Israelite period, right? Why? Because he's the devil. But this is their world.
I always take the subway, but my mom had never really been on the subway. I took her on the other day, and she was like, "Whoa, this is cool. Other people should do this." I was like, "You should."
And when she's talking about other people, she's like the wealthy, because they don't ride out there. They ain't never. The Rothschilds never took a bus nowhere. Never ate a McDonald's. Never ate a Hot Pocket. Never did none of that shit. They don't. That's foreign to them. All of that is foreign to them. The shit that they give to us, they poison and destroy us and benefit off it tremendously. So they don't partake in that because they know that it's not good for them. So even being amongst all them people, it ain't good to be traveling amongst all them people, you know. But their kids, you know, this is fun to them, man.
Come during rush hour, you know. It's kind of ironic because the Whitney family made their money off of subways. Yeah, they sort of privatized the subway and held a monopoly on it, charged the city all this money.
Look, Jake don't know that. He's sitting, look, the prince sitting back here, and the servant, he's just gloating in their wickedness, man. And he He just trying to get from work and get home, or go to work and get home. Jake living well. You can look at the stress on this man's face versus this guy's face. He's completely happiest and oblivious to the people around him, just like he's completely destroyed and oblivious from the people that's around him. He's standing in front of a complete wicked individual, man, who gets to shine in a world that wasn't created for him.
It was a complete racket. They were crook monopoly on it. Charged the city all this money. Yeah, they sort of privatized the subway and held a monopoly on it. Charged the city all this money. Subways. People should do this. I was like, you should come during rush hour, you know? It's kind of ironic because the Whitney family made their money off of subways. Yeah, they sort of privatized the subway and held a monopoly on it. Charged the city all this money. It was a complete racket. They were crooks. But everybody was a crook back then who made money.
And everybody is a crook today that make money. You see? And that's what inspired this lesson. When I heard him say that, I was like, yep, that's where it is. In order to make money, you got to be a crook. You got to be. And these Edomites, all of them are crooks. That's why the scripture says this. Ecclesiastes 10:8, because of unrighteous dealings, injuries, and riches got by deceit, the kingdom is translated from one people to another. Right, so it's going to be translated from the Edomites to the Israelites. All right, we're going to receive the kingdom. This is the book of Daniel, chapter 17, 7 verse 18. The book of Daniel 7 and 18. The book of Daniel 7 and 18. It says, but the saints of the Most High shall take the kingdom and possess the kingdom forever, even forever and ever. Right. So this is getting translated from one people to the next, right? And the people that is getting transferred to is the Israelites. And we're going to have it forever and ever. We're not going to release the kingdom. It's not going to go back. It's not going to go into the hands of another heathen nation ever again, right? Because they don't know how to rule. You can put Ammonites in there, so-called Japanese. You can put Hamites in this thing. They would all do the same thing. But Esau, he took it to the max. None of these heathen nations could rule in righteousness and property. He says the guy said that they were all crooks, like they stopped being crooks once they got to a point. No, they just made the system corrupt and work for them. So they can't be challenged. They can't be taken in through their unrighteous dealings. And riches got by deceit. They got all this wealth by deceit. They don't even teach you in no kind of history class about the Whitney family. And you got to read it on your own. You got to look this stuff up on your own. You would never know that the Whitney family monopolized the transit in New York City and charged the city a shit ton of money. When the Whitneys, what is what I want to say? When the Whitneys basically was robbing the cities for all kinds of money. And that's another reason why a lot of these back in the 50s and during the time of integration, a lot of so-called black communities, right? These little Africas all throughout America, they had their own bus stations. You hear about Black Wall Street. They had their own bus transit system. That got all taken over and bought out because those were private. Back in the day, public transportation was a private institution. So anybody could make a company up and start a bus service, right? Nah, they was like, fuck that. We're going to monopolize it. We're going to take them out of power, or we're going to buy them out. If they don't want to buy, we're going to put them out and take it, and then we're going to keep privatize it until ourselves, and then we'll sell it back to these cities. And so that these public transportation or the city transportation is really owned by these families, man. And they get a cut every year, you know? Every year they get money, or every quarter they probably get broken off. But this, you would have never known that they show these nice pictures of these evil demonic Edomites, sitting all on their high horses with their pens in their hands, as if they were just complete entrepreneurs who just did the right thing and made it, right? You see? But in reality, these people are straight up wicked, man. You got this is all the Whitney family, you know? And they always got these philanthropic and nonprofit organizations. And these are nothing but things set up to funnel their money, their ill-gotten gains right back to them. Buildings and estates, This is all of this stuff was riches gotten by deceit, right? And including the Vanderbilts. Including the Vanderbilts. And again, they marry into these different wealthy families amongst themselves. These people didn't go broke. They might not be as rich as some other super elite family, but these people still got bread, and the money's still flowing. The money is still flowing to this day. That's why there was another one I had. I don't know if I saved it. Let me see if I got it. There was another part of that video that I was showing you brothers, but I can't find it. But this is another video of heiresses of old money in America. And these kids, they get to play and be socialites all throughout the world with the money that their forefathers made. Ivy Getty, granddaughter of Gordon Getty, socialite, art, fashion scene. Best friends with Ayanna Taylor-Joy, right? Isabel Getty, cousin with Greek and Danish princesses, daughters of Christopher Getty. August Getty, a son of Andre Getty, took mother's surname, fashion designer, dress lady, Gaga and Bella. He's a homosexual. Ariana Rockefeller, daughter of David Rockefeller Jr., equestrian philanthropist. And like our people will never have titles like these. And these are just noble families of today. They're going to be nobodies in the kingdom of heaven. But these people, this is what they do in their place. They get these lawfully titles for themselves, philanthropists, most public Rockefeller, because they're not public like that, right? Come on, man, with the bullshit. Salakia. I don't know what happened. Anyway, Salakia about that, brothers. Yeah, you see these people, they got all of this wealth and these titles, okay? This wealth and these titles, but it all came from wickedness and evil, okay? This is James 5:1. Go now, ye rich men, and weep. Go now, ye rich men, weep and howl for your miseries that shall come upon you. Your riches are corrupted, and your garments are moth-eaten. Right? Your gold and silver is cankered, and the rust of them shall be a witness against you, and shall eat your flesh as it were fire. Yet heap treasures together for the last days. Behold, the hire of the laborers, which is us, we're the laborers, who have reaped down your fields, which of you kept back by fraud, crieth, and the cries of them which have reaped are entered into the heirs of the Lord of Sabaoth, which is the Lord of armies, which is Yahweh Bashem Yahushai. Okay, ye have lived in pleasure on the earth, and been wanton. Ye have nourished your hearts as in the days of slaughter. Ye have condemned and killed the just, and he doth not resist you. And who are the just? We are the Israelites. And this is what Esau has done, right? But they'll say, oh, it wasn't me, it was my forefathers. They had nothing to do with that. We're different. No, you're not. You're the same. It says, ye have spent your years on the earth in luxury, satisfying your every desire. Ye have fattened yourselves for the day of slaughter, because that's what's coming, and they better hide, man, because when the day of slaughter comes, it's coming for them. It's straight up, all their ilk, from the old to the young to the middle age, they're all going to be gotten. They're all going to, look, they all got these titles of philanthropists. You can't go to college and become a philanthropist, right? You don't have to go to college to become a philanthropist. These are titles that they got. Their life is filled with acting like they're giving back through these different organizations that they set up that do nothing but funnel that wicked, ill-gotten gains right back to their families, you know? And they set up this BS shit like these colleges, like the school, Spelman University, where a lot of these black bitches go to school and get their degrees and become sluts at the all-time level, right? That shit is set up from the Spelman family, who married the Rockefeller family. They're married into the Rockefeller family via their grandmothers or their great grandmothers, right? She married John D. Rockefeller. Um, I forget her first name, right? And they set these things up, and they had you thinking that, oh, look, they care about people, they care about us. No, they don't. I had no idea Timothy Oliphant was a Vanderbilt. Yeah, and their kids are all over the place, and these people are going into captivity. Justin and Idra Rockefeller. Justin's father is Jay Rockefeller. Idra is former dancer turned socialite and CEO, founded luggage brand Paravi, which that's a super luxury brand. And Jake they don't rap about Paravel. They don't rap about that shit, you know. But yeah, man, but it's all good because it's all about the go anyway. And the scripture says this in Job chapter 20:4. Knowest thou not this of old, since man was placed upon the earth, that the triumphant of the wicked is short, and you Edomites, your reign was always short like a leprechaun, and the joy of the hypocrite, but for the moment, because these people are the hypocrite. They dress all nice, they head these organizations, they take these luxurious pictures, but they're hypocritical because the same companies that they set up to so-called help people, with air quotes, I said that, it's used to destroy people. So these people are hypocrites, and the joy that they have is only for a moment because it's about to run out, right? It says, the triumphant of the wicked is short, and the joy of the hypocrite but for a moment. Though his excellency mount up to the heavens, and his head reach unto the clouds, yet he shall perish forever like his own dung, like his own poop. They will have they which have seen him shall say, where is he? Because in the kingdom, he after 1,000 years, they're gonna be nowhere to be found, man. He's gonna vanish forever and thrown away like their own dung. That's right. It says I mean I just feel like own dung. We looking up dung. That word for dung in the Hebrew is galal, galal, right? And it's dung, a ball of dung. Poop. It's basically poop. Camel's dung. Poop is dung. Dung is poop. All right? And they're going to disappear. They're going to be gone. All of this wealth is going to vanish overnight, you know, when Yahweh Shai comes back and destroy this place. It says, verse 8, he shall fly away as a dream and shall not be found. Yeah, he shall be chased away like a vision in the night. That's right, man. So all of this is about to disappear, you know. It's all ill-gotten gain. And like that guy said in that video, he said that everybody was crooks, but everybody was a crook back then. Well, they still crooks today. They just well-dressed crooks. That's all they are. And this ain't got nothing to do about race, skin color. It's about nations and nationalities. These are the wicked that the Bible speaks of. And these are their offspring. So I'll end it off with this one, Isaiah 14:21. Isaiah 14:21, right? Says, prepare slaughter for his children for the iniquity of their fathers, that they do not rise, nor possess the land, nor fill the faces of the world with cities. So slaughter is being prepared for these people, for what their forefathers did, all right, and what they're doing, because they are their forefathers and foremothers anyway. But they don't understand that. That's beyond their comprehension, right? It says, Salakia. Says, prepare slaughter for his children for the iniquity of their fathers, that they do not rise nor possess the land, nor fill the face of the world with cities. For I will rise up against them, saith Yahweh Bashem Yahushua of hosts, and cut off from Babylon the name. And this is not talking about ancient Babylon. It's talking about America, baby. He's going to cut off the name, and the remnant, and the son, and the nephew, saith the Lord Yahweh Bashem Yahushua. So they're going to be cut down. right? And they're going to have to pay for what they did in this life, their past lives, because they are their forefathers and foremothers. And so with that, we say shalom, on to the next.